Shit. Oh, hey guys. Sorry. Fuck. Thought I'd do a little opening there. Play chess while we, played some music. Alright, 4,000 subs, we did it. This has been the official year mark coming up on the Patriarchy starting in August. I think I started in August or September. And that's where we're at right now. I've really only been doing it pretty serious for like 6 months. I'd say. But yeah, we finally made it a big boost on those last few videos. The Dark Tower video and a few other ones. So I thought I would do a Q&A video to celebrate the 4,000 subs and talk to you guys because we don't get to talk much anymore. And I would answer some questions for you and stuff like that. Sorry, I'm getting my ass kicked at this chess game because I really wasn't paying attention. It was my bad. Oh, I should have done this move a while ago, actually. That was pretty bad. Let's see. Oh. How you guys doing tonight? I want to see some happiness in that chat room. I want to know that everyone's having a good time. Oh, darn. Come on. Jesus. Keep trying to check chat. Renaissance Man, how do you feel about what happened to Charlotte today? Is it Charlotte? Is that how you say it? Charlottesville? I mean, to be honest with you, I only know the basics like the rest of you. I don't have any more detail than anyone else. I was gone most of the day, so I mean, I have the cliche feelings everyone else does. I don't really have... if you guys can tell me a little bit more about... I mean, I know the... Is there anything... Did anything new come out? Anything happen? Because I'm legitimately out of the loop on this. Oh, come on. So, you guys are going to have to... What is your hype level for Star Wars The Last Jedi? I farted and I'm sitting in my fart stink. Oh, it's good to know, Glitch Mod. It's very good to know. That's going to help me. I'm going to be able to beat this computer in chess because of that piece of information. That was what I needed. I don't know. Jeez, just checkmate me, bro. Seriously. I don't know. Oh, gotta block with the queen. There's a glorious meme that came from it. What's the meme? You guys gotta get me. Okay, you're asking me what my hype level is for Star Wars: The Last Jedi. I'd say if we were gauging it on a 1 to 10 scale, as of how excited I am at this point right now, where we're at, where the movie's at, being released or not, I would say I'm at a 7. I'd say before Force Awakens came out, I was on a 9 out of 10 hype scale, and then that movie came out, and I enjoyed it the first time I saw it, and every time I've seen it since, I've liked it a little less. Right now, the trailers, just everything I've seen outside of Rian Johnson, who I really like as a director. If you guys don't know, he made Brick and Looper and directed Ozymandias on Breaking Bad. Pretty good director, and he wrote the screenplay, so I'm hoping the movie's actually better. But, yeah, give me a link to that. I'm hoping this movie's better than Force Awakens, but everything I've read about it and everything that people are talking about with it, I'm not that excited, honestly, so far. Nothing's really excited me. I thought the trailers looked okay. I want to see it, but I'm not that hyped. You got to play it on stream, though, because it's so dank. Alright, dude. I got you. I'll play it on the stream because it's so dank. But, so, yeah, that's the best answer I can give you on that. I'm not that excited about The Last Jedi as of right now. That doesn't mean that I won't get more excited as we get closer to the release date, as that is very possible that happens. But as of right now, no. Not very much at all. Can you not put the link in chat, bro? Is there no link in chat? Something happened with that? You know, me and the Dishonored Wolf really need to get on a live stream together. I saw his Dark Tower video, and it was like the exact same fucking video I made. Like, I was just sitting there going, damn, dude, like, we made beat for beat the same video. Not saying he copied me or anything. That's not what I'm saying. It's just funny. We had, like, the exact same video within a few days of each other. Or is it not, are you not allowed, or can you not put links in the stream? Do I have that set up, fucked up somehow? That is possible. I could see me being a moron like that and pulling that off. Oh, look, Devin Tracy. Helping out a youngster from England. Good old AIU. Best one out there. Damn, people. I need some questions. I need some more questions. You can't just go off about The Last Jedi for like a half hour. Well, I guess I could. That wouldn't be a bad idea. Wouldn't be the world's greatest idea either. Oh, hello, it is V. Again, YouTube cracks the whip. YouTube's always cracking the whip on us. As skeptics, these cultural Marxists are always cracking the whip. Evil Google. I do not like it. That Romanian bastard. I swear to God, chat is not fucking updating or something. This is ridiculous. Or you guys just aren't typing. Maybe not. It says that it's not getting a lot of information sent over the thing. So, I don't know if that's not what's going on or not. Let's see. Thoughts on Unite the Right in Charlottesville. Oh, yeah. Well, there's some opinions on it. That's all you need. You just need to go off other people's opinions. Video's probably better than a video I'd make. Holy shit, that's a good V. Yeah, no, I listen to V a lot, so I kinda... Hello, I am V. I can do V and Dave Cullen. I like to think that they have conversations all the time. Like, Dave calls him on the phone, he's like, hello there, V. It's me, Dave Cullen. The cultural Marxists are coming after my YouTube channel. They're coming after my YouTube channel too, Dave. These damn Marxists. You know, us skeptics have to stick together. Let me call Sargon. Yeah, you better do that now. We better watch out. In my head, that's what they do all day. What do you think of the new YouTube guidelines? I think they fucking suck. I think it sucks balls. They're destroying me. They hate me. Let's just... God, if we can... let's just... hold on one second. Let's just go through this real quick. Oh, look, a playlist. The Patriarchy. Yay! Yay! Playlists are for your friends. Everything's happier in this world. Come on. My channel. Yeah, so... Okay, I'll explain this to you guys, how the new YouTube guidelines are affecting me. Basically, This video's okay. This video, under the guidelines and the advertiser thing, has the green monetization symbol. This isn't good, this isn't good, this isn't good. The Emoji Movie, this is okay. All the Weekend Box Office and Dark Tower videos good. Pretty much anything else, all of my other videos, all of them, and I don't mean that in a hyperbolic way. I'd say like 98% of my videos now have the little yellow monetization thing where it says not suitable for advertisers, and when you click it to see what that exactly means, it says bad language and controversial subject matter and something else. Oh, you tweeted me. Alright, sweet. And, you know, pretty much in all of my videos I have swearing. It's really not that, This was one of the most fun moments of Twitter ever. He blocked me within minutes. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, guys, don't forget, hashtag blocked by Dan Slott. Don't forget that. Hash that on Twitter. Blocked by Patriarchy. I'll block you bastards. Alright, let's watch this meme that was sent to me by Glitchmon.
And this I'm particularly proud of. The remote control for your car. Tap twice. 1, 2. Now, draw your finger very slowly across the pad to drive the car. Well, it's surprisingly difficult to drive, but with practice...
Well, let's see how she responds to my touch, AQ.
Oh, fuck. Oh,
Think we understand each other?
oh, shit.
007.
Those British bastards. Those motherfuckers. They did it. They fucking did it. Oh, dude, you're so right. Pierce Bronson was wasted as Bond. He only had one good script. GoldenEye. Okay, so let me get back to the but the guidelines thing. Basically, it sucks for me. All of my videos are pretty much screwed now. Oh, he's talking about Charlottesville. Whoa, these damn Antifas. But basically, the problem is YouTube seems to be cracking the whip, as V so eloquently put it. If you're no longer, I think, kid-friendly, and not even just kid-friendly, I think if you're safe, too. You not only can you not swear or talk about politics and religion, I think they don't even want you to open up conversation in your comment section and stuff like that, because nobody... All the channels that seem to be getting affected, from what I've noticed, seem to have people who talk in the comment section in a similar way. Like the way that you guys talk in my comment section on my videos. It seems to be that a lot of you guys comment on a lot of other channels that are suffering from this, and there's a lot of crossover. And it seems like they don't want the conversation. I think that's the main issue. They don't like channels creating interaction, because if I just give you my opinion and I show you things without really, you know, I don't try to frame them to manipulate you too much. You can come to your own conclusion and have a conversation, and then you don't have to agree with what the mainstream narrative is. And it's not like I think YouTube is trying to push a mainstream narrative on us. I think they just don't want YouTube to be the HBO anymore. Like, basically, you could upload a video of anything that wasn't porn. You could do any kind of fucked up content on YouTube. And now I think what the goal is they want it to be like more akin to Netflix or Amazon, where there is adult content, but it's made by big companies, big production companies. I don't think they want small-time people uploading videos like that anymore. Let me go back up, though, to see... there was a couple more questions. I'm sorry. Name a Star Wars anthology movie you want to see. Damn. Well, I do want to see the Boba Fett movie, and they are working on that. So the only answer I can give to that would probably be the Boba Fett one. If I had to make one myself, Darth Maul. I would love to see Darth Maul's training and killing Jedis off in between whatever events are happening before Phantom Menace. And I would like to end that movie with, like, Darth Maul getting the mission to go find Qui-Gon and them, and that ends right there. But basically the whole movie is Darth Maul, like, rising up the hero story. Well, not the hero, but how he has to kill his way up to become the apprentice of Sidious. And I love Darth Maul. It would be cool to see Ray Park again. Maybe get the guy who directed the Raid movie to make it an action film. So it's just straight up awesome Darth Maul choreography, stunt work. He goes on all these missions sent out by Palpatine to go kill Jedi and fuck up things with the... Basically just screw things up, make political... because we don't really know what Darth Maul's doing before Phantom Menace, so I wouldn't mind seeing a movie about that. Darth Vader would be cool too. But off the top of my head, I would like to see more of Darth Maul. Which franchise would you go away... should go away first, Alien or Terminator? Terminator. Terminator is much worse off than Alien. The new Alien films suck, and I don't like them. And I don't want new Alien films, but you could still do something with that franchise. There's still a lot of potential with separate stories in that universe and doing things with the Xenomorph. I still think there's a lot of potential. With Terminator, I don't think there's any potential outside of what James Cameron did in the first two movies. I think all those elements are what makes it work. Is the time travel aspect, is the future war, the sending Kyle Reese back, Skynet. I don't think you can do it over several movies. They never even wanted to show us the future war either. And you notice in Terminator Salvation they took the fucking purple laser guns away. That really pissed me off. I waited my whole life to see purple laser guns, and then they just have like normal ammunition. It's like, what the fuck is this? And Christian Bale's just growling, "No, we gotta find Kyle Reese. Let's just talk on her." Terrible movie. So the Terminator franchise. Did you watch the Red Letter Media Plinkett review? Yes, I did, of the new Ghostbusters. I will say it's almost like too little too late. It was a great video, but I felt like it was a long wait to get that video. He should have released that last year when it would have been way more impactful. Having said that, though, Plinkett is so brilliant because he gets those reaction shots of the people on the set. And just, I didn't see the DVD stuff. Seeing how bad the improv was that Paul Feig was directing, was letting 5-hour takes go on, and you would see Melissa McCarthy and them just improv, and it was fucking awful. I mean, it would be a montage of her doing lines, and they were all terrible. And it was like, holy crap, these aren't even like the worst kind of Arnold Schwarzenegger one, like let off some steam, Bennett. That's a better line than anything. It's fucking ridiculous. That was a good video. I just wish, I don't know, I wish Plinkett would have released it last year. But very good video, and one of their better ones in a while. I have never seen a girl in this chat before. We've had a few girls in this chat, but I think they always get run off by the guys. At one point, we had like 3 women in this chat one time. I think we've had a few. There used to be girls that used to come into the chat, and I don't know if you scoundrels ran them off because you're so bad. Interesting. Maybe only men can find humor in this channel. I just think it's not a lot of women finding this channel yet. I'm not really sure that women would enjoy it. I just haven't seen it. And women never got the right to vote in the 20s. How much better would America be right now? I don't think it would be that much different. I think it would be about the same, honestly, with women to vote. Now, if we get rid of those damn illegal Mexican voters, right? You can do stuff with the Terminator franchise. I mean, I guess they did that all-female Terminator movie. I don't really want... I can't really think of something. Got a jet, brother. Cool stream so far. Thanks for showing the May. Hey, thank you for sending it to me, Glitch Mod. I appreciate it. That was very cool of you. Melissa McCarthy comes off as a cunt. Well, that's very blunt. That's not a nice thing to say. But, you know. That's what it is. Let's see how many of you guys... Oh, sweet. There's 13 of you here. That's awesome. So have you guys been enjoying the videos lately? I'm hoping that I haven't been boring you guys with the movie videos too much with the Back to the Future and stuff like that. But YouTube doesn't want me making patriarchy videos anymore. I'm still working on one. I'm going to do one about this story here. This Fat studies is now a social justice issue, according to Oregon State University professor. I'm working on a video on this, so I'm not done doing the patriarchy, so don't think I'm done just because. Yes, we do need more scoundrels in our lives. Oh, see? I knew you were a girl randomness. I remember that. You guys be nice. How would you do the next Ghostbusters movie? A sequel to the reboot, only without most of the cast? A sequel to Ghostbusters 2? Or another reboot? Thank you for enjoying the channel. I appreciate that so much. Jesus, would I want a sequel to Ghostbusters the reboot with a new cast? Stayed for the bigotry. Yeah, the bigotry is what it's all about, man. Yeah, the videos, that's what I love. I love to think that people click on this channel to watch a movie review, and then they go click on another one of my videos, and it's like, black people commit so much crime. And it's like, oh. And I'm like, fuck feminism. Oh, damn. This guy's just not this guy's not just talking about Sony and Amy Pascal. Looks like a bot came back to the chat. Yeah. I would do the next Ghostbusters film. I do like the animated film idea they've talked about. But personally, I would want the sequel. But I guess I would do another sequel to that last film, I guess is what you would do. But it would basically be a soft reboot. And I would do it like Shaun of the Dead or Hot Fuzz. Edgar Wright style, you know. So basically like that. I'd like to get funnier actors, a mix of female and male comedians like Emma Stone and Chris Pratt, Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, and do something closer to the original Ghostbusters. And yeah, just make it that after they started their Ghostbusters in that last movie. How do you feel about Howard Hawks and William Friedkin? I wouldn't. I'll go into that in a second about William Friedkin. Because I actually don't consider William Friedkin to be a Workman-like director, even though he may consider himself to be as a Workman director. But I think William Friedkin, when he was at his best, was not a Workman director. But I would make the sequel about Ghostbusters Incorporated. Oh, Live and Die in LA is amazing. I would make it about multiple Ghostbuster factions that have opened up across America. And, you know, they got kicked off by the one from the last movie. And so there's like dozens of Ghostbusters all over the country now, and it's kind of like a Kingsman type movie. So it would basically be a bunch of Ghostbusters at different places. Some of them would be at firehouses, some of them would be at libraries, they would be at a comic book store, and then they'd all have to get together, and there would be like a leader Ghostbuster, and in my mind it would be played by Bill Murray, but that wouldn't happen. But John C. McKinley from Scrubs. Remember him, Dr. Cox? Wouldn't you like to see him as a Ghostbuster? That'd be funny. Okay, let me answer the Workman question real quick. I've also preferred DC to Marvel when it comes to comics. I prefer DC characters to Marvel myself. Although Marvel does have great stories. So, Howard Hawks. I think the context at that time, that you kind of had to be a Workman-like director, it was very tough to have artistry in the time when Howard Hawks worked. And a lot of my favorite directors from that time, let's say, even before, John Ford even. I mean, I'd even consider Kurosawa in his time to be a little Workman-like in the fact that, you know, he worked a lot. You know, the films, you just made a lot of movies. You went, you know, even Hitchcock, you worked a lot. When I say Workman-like, my complaint with that is just directors who come in and feel like they shoot the movie without any kind of signature style, visually or thematically. They don't have an auteur sensibility. See, I would consider a Workman-like director to be Brett Ratner. Brett Ratner, someone that I would think... See, Brett Ratner could direct any movie. I mean, dude, you're asking me to come up with an idea after the last Ghostbusters film or what to do. It's kind of tough. They fucked it up so bad, there's really nothing to come up with. I mean, that's the best... I mean, if they hadn't screwed that up so bad, you might be able to do something with it. But what they did with it, I wouldn't know what the fuck, rebooting it wouldn't make any sense. Doing a sequel would be tough, and then just doing a sequel to Ghostbusters 2 would make no fucking sense. Because they had the guys and cameos in the last movie, so I don't really know what you do with the Ghostbusters franchise. Let's see, yeah. what was I going on about on Workman-like directors? Right. So for me, a Workman-like director is someone that they just come in and do the movie that the producer tells them to make. So when you watch a Brett Ratner film, be it Red Dragon, got any of the Rush Hours, he has no style. You just watch his movies and you're like, oh, some guy went and shot this movie, did no work. He basically went and just put the camera up, got all the scenes, did the movie, and was over. And that was about as far as it went. He didn't correct the actors in a certain way. He didn't tweak the script in a certain way. It's basically guys that go in and just shoot the script, and they don't do much else with it. And that's about... And they're at the level of someone who graduated from film school. They know how to shoot a movie, and they can make an adequate-looking Hollywood film. I'd say Kevin Smith's a Workman-like director, right? He's a good writer when the material's good, but he's not a very good director. But he can make a movie. He knows how to put a movie together, and he can structure. But you know, Clerks, anyone could have shot Clerks or Chasing Amy. For me, William Friedkin, what he did on The Exorcist and what he did on French Connection is so different from what a Workman-like director would. He would slap his actors before takes on The Exorcist. He pranked them. He made the room cold. I mean, he constantly fucked with his actors and the atmosphere of the set, and he used a documentary style, which he was a documentary filmmaker, so he gives it this gritty, realistic style in The Exorcist, and I think, I'd even say with the French Connection, he approached it like a horror film almost. There's not a darker film that ever won Best Picture than The French Connection. The French Connection has the darkest ending. The last, like, couple minutes of that movie is such an unconventional Hollywood ending. And a lot of that feels like Friedkin. He feels like that new Hollywood. So, I get what you mean that he's Workman-like, that his movies run like a machine, and he directs them with a lot of muscle, like Howard Hawks. They're those kind of filmmakers. I know what you mean. There's those guys. But I think that there's too much artistry that Friedkin can't contain. He's just too interesting of a guy. He's just too interesting. His films... Especially, and a lot of people underrate his work in general, even after The Exorcist. But The Exorcist has held up remarkably well. It's aged. It's better. It holds up better now than I think it probably did back then. Yeah, get the butter. Last Tango in Paris. Yeah, you know, that story's not as bad as people make it out to be. The butter thing. Basically, they rubbed butter on her and they didn't... I mean, it's bad. What they did was screwed up, but people exaggerate that. They act like Marlon Brando stuck his junk in her or something after he put butter on her, which isn't what happened. I'm actually not the world's biggest Howard Hawks fan, though, to actually go into that. He's not my favorite. He's not one of my favorite directors. I like his films that I've seen, but I think there's much better work at that time that you can find. If you search it out. He did make some great films, though, definitely. But I think that even with Bogart, I think his best film wasn't even with Howard Hawks. What was that one film I love? God, I'm sorry I can't come. In a Lonely Place, I think it's called. It's got a Criterion release. In a Lonely Place. It's a really terrific film. What's your stance on the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Mediocre. They put no effort into making the films anything above a product, and they weren't good as products. Yeah, Spider-Man's fine and entertaining, Doctor Strange is fine and entertaining, Civil War's fine and entertaining, but none of them are great films and stick with me. And none of them hold up after their first viewing as well. Like, the first time you see the Avengers in the theater, it's pretty awesome, but after you see it... the second time, you're kind of like, oh, this movie's got no plot. And then every time you watch it, you realize it's just a bunch of jokes. And, you know, that's how it gets with me with Marvel. Like, I feel like I'm watching episodes to a sitcom. And, yeah, if you click it on TV, it's fine. But, you know, after you've seen the episode a few times, the jokes aren't as funny as they were the first time. That's really all it is. No, Dan Aykroyd's definitely very hypocritical. That Dan Aykroyd likes to come out and shit on Paul Feig, but it's like, you know, you could have prevented Paul Feig from ever working on this film. Do you watch anime like One Piece? Shonens? Yeah, I watch shonens. I read shonens. I actually love One Piece and Dragon Ball, the original. I like Dragon Ball Z and all, but the original Dragon Ball is far superior. Case Closed, Detective Conan. That's another one I like. Do you think George Lucas will ever make more movies? If he does, I don't think we'll see them. But I don't think he has plans to make something. I would like to see another George Lucas movie, though, that you bring that up. That's an interesting idea. Like, if George Lucas if he came back and made another movie, won an Oscar, he made, like, a Holocaust film. It's beautiful. It wins him, like, 8 Academy Awards. It turns out George Lucas was this untapped genius this whole time that we didn't know. Because I've always been under the opinion there's only one great George Lucas film, and that's American Graffiti. And that is not me saying that Star Wars isn't a great film, but I think Star Wars is a great film because of the collaboration he had on that film. I think his wife did a lot of the editing, which has just come out now. His wife did a lot of the editing on Star Wars. And I don't dislike, I mean, obviously I love New Hope, but it's got some bad acting from Mark Hamill. You say that every year. And it's definitely not a perfect movie, but it's a great film. It's got this escapism and joy about it that few films have ever had. It's the magic of cinema. But I don't think he ever really made a great film on his own merits as much as he did with American Graffiti. And then after that, I don't think... he'll probably direct a Hillary 2020 ad. THX is pretty good. I don't think it's amazing. I like THX. But it's not one of my favorites. I much prefer Solaris from that time. And I even like 2001 better. And I'm pretty mixed on 2001. But I think Tarkovsky did a much better job with the same kind of stuff. I mean, for what he had on his low budget, THX is really impressive. But it's not American Graffiti to me. American Graffiti's... obviously, it's my 20th favorite film on my list. Yeah, I think we'll never see them. Do you still think Hollywood uses the magic Negro trope? Yes, that film was called Hidden Figures, and it came out last year. If you were trying to tell me... Oh, dude, I agree for its time. THX is mind-blowing. I'm not arguing that at all. It's definitely... The short film that it was based off of is really impressive, too. I think Hidden Figures... If you're trying to tell me that 3 black women are the heroes behind NASA and sending men into space... That's laughable to me. That's a magical Negro story in my eyes. I'm not saying that those 3 black women weren't real and that story's not real, but Hidden Figures' whole point is to try to make it like, without them, we could have never done this. We needed these black women to do this science because we couldn't get it with these white guys. And I still think that trope... I don't think it's used in maybe how you mean it, like the Shawshank Redemption. How do you feel about Stalker and other Tarkovsky movies? Stalker's actually one I'm a little lesser on. It's like an 8 out of 10 for me. I think it's good. Yeah, that's what Hidden Figures seems like to me. Like these magical black ladies saved NASA, which I just don't buy. I think it was a lot of people. I think Stalker is it's extremely esoteric, even so for Tarkovsky, and I have an issue with his 3-hour films like that in Solaris. I talked to my friend Scumbag about this. We both agreed that Tarkovsky could tell those films tales in 2 hours or less. And it's just one of those things. You're supposed to watch the Tarkovsky films. It's like watching Bergman films or, God, what's his name? God, I'm trying to think of the guys. My head's a little crammed with all these questions. I'm trying to think of the guy who made the Colors trilogy, and then he made Double Life of Veronique. Kieslowski? I think it's Kieslowski. You have to watch films by these foreign directors, and they're all 3 hours, and you're supposed to see them, and they're supposed to be the greatest films of all time. And some of them are. I'm not denying they are. La Dolce Vita is one of the best films I've ever seen by Fellini, and it's 3 hours. But my favorite Tarkovsky film is Ivan's Childhood. I think that's the name of it, which is about, I think it was about World War II, and it's like the 400 Blows. And Bergman was very influenced by it, and if you go back and watch that film, and it's under 2 hours, he tells such an epic, human, incredible story in under 2 hours, and it's got all the brilliant cinematography and filmmaking and humanity. And I think that Tarkovsky, at his best, taps into the French New Wave, and, you know, taps into what was Francis Truffaut. Sorry if I'm not good at pronouncing the foreign names. These are directors that I haven't watched their films in a while. You know, Playtime and those guys. These are films you get on the Criterion release. But I would say to that question that Tarkovsky is one of the greatest directors of all time. but I also feel like he is very close to his contemporaries. So when he's at his best, you see his influence that he had on Bergman and these other guys, and possibly even the Scorsese's or Kubrick's even, because he does make movies about the silence of God. And the silence of God is what a lot of these directors were exploring, and they were trying to do Chekhov themes and philosophy, and explore things that were talked about in the Republic, the Symposium, Plato. And that's what's missing from a lot of film today, was how those films had the depth of novels. And Tarkovsky, I believe he was Russian, right? His films are the best representation of Russian philosophy in cinema that I've probably seen. And that's a compliment I can give him. And he is one of the most... he did make a film, I think it was called The Mirror, and it was very much like Bergman. It was extremely like Bergman. So that's my main issue, is I kind of get him confused with other directors, and Solaris I like a lot. I think the ending's amazing, but it's a little too long for me. And Stalker I've only seen once, but I did like it. Like I said, I think it's an 8, but it's one of those films like Underground. You watch it once, and I don't know if I'd ever watch it again. I can't really give you an analysis thesis on Tarkovsky because I haven't seen all of his films. I did like Ivan's Childhood. I did like The Mirror. And I'm trying to think of some other off the top of my head. But everything I've seen of his, like a few of his films, they were all... I think Ivan's Childhood was a masterpiece. All the other ones I'd give like an 8, 8.5 if I had to give an arbitrary rating. But they're not my favorite... they're just not my favorite. I'm more of a Fellini guy when it comes to that stuff. I'm more for the emotional nostalgia thing, more into Italian, French cinema than I am to the Russian, German cinema, if you get what I mean. What kind of movie would you make if you wanted it to have the best chance at making money? A documentary, horror, sci-fi, or something else? Horror! Horror is the easiest one to make money off of. Look at Blumhouse Studios. They did Get Out and... Split. You could make a horror film today for like less than $10 million and have it gross $100 million worldwide. So I would definitely make low budget horror films. Documentary, it's tough to make a big profit in. Sci-fi, you take a risk every time you do it. It's either going to be a total hit or it's going to be a total bomb. Horror, you have a pretty consistent... if your film has good marketing, it has an evil doll in it, it's got fucking possessed children in it, you're pretty much okay. The Emoji Movie review gave you a boost, but the weekly box office reviews have been great. Thank you, man. Yeah, I've been enjoying doing the weekend box office reviews. I was going to stop doing them. I stopped doing them months ago, actually, because nobody watched them, but then I started doing them as live streams on Sundays. And there will be one out tomorrow. And you guys have just really been great on the last couple of them. The live stream. You guys in the chat. I've loved... the conversations we've had about movies, and it's really cool that you guys care to hear me talk about boxing, because that's been a hobby of mine since I was like 13. It's like I'm a D&D nerd when it comes to box office. I've been checking the weekend box office since I was really young. Yeah, the Emoji Movie did get a lot of hits, but it was mainly the Dark Tower video that gave me the big boost recently. Let's see if I missed any questions. Sorry. I do like these movie questions coming from Dr. Blood Money. Those are some you're doing some deep cuts, man. What's a popular movie you have never seen? What's a popular movie I've never seen? Yeah, that's tough, because I've seen most popular films. Like, because I grew up in a time where VHS was really popular, and you could get any movie. I mean, a lot of people don't know there's movies today that you still can't get on DVD or Blu-ray. You might be able to get... I remember there was one a long time I couldn't get, My Stepmom's a Monster, and this film with Johnny Dingle, My Boyfriend's Back. That's where I used to watch a lot of schlock B films. That's why I fell in love with Henenlotter, and stuff like Basket Case was VHS. So there's a lot of movies and I even suggest watching films like Texas Chainsaw on VHS. I think some films work better with crappier quality. God, I'm trying to think. What's a popular movie? For years, it was Chinatown, but I've seen Chinatown now, and I watched it a few years ago. But for years, I was pretty ashamed I hadn't seen Chinatown. I'm only 27, so I haven't seen everything, but I pretty much watch a movie every day or more than one, and I've been doing that for, almost 30 years. So it's tough that I haven't seen any movie that's come out that was a big hit. I'm sure there's something I haven't seen that was popular. I'm just trying to think. That's super famous. Bad Moms, I didn't see. That was a big hit with Mila Kunis. That movie did pretty well. I haven't seen that movie. And I haven't seen... God, I'm trying to think. I watch so many movies. I don't know. That's a good question. I'll have to get back on that. Maybe that should be a video, actually. Famous movies I haven't seen, and I can watch some movies I've never seen before. I like that idea. So I'll get back to you and let you know on that. That's actually... I would love to... You've never seen Pulp Fiction? Jesus. That's crazy. He was Bergman's favorite filmmaker. Yeah, you can tell. You could tell Bergman really liked Tarkovsky. Definitely. Apocalypto and Braveheart are awesome, but I never saw Passion of the Christ because it seemed too religious. I mean, it is religious, but it's heavy metal religious. Like, I mean, it's pretty much 45 minutes of Jesus just getting the shit beat out of him. I'm not kidding you either. It's 45 minutes of just like a guy getting the living shit beat out of him, and I love every fucking second of it. It's amazing. I still think that's absolutely incredible that film got released and it did well. You said Fanny Alexander is one of the best films of all time. Do you believe it's his best, your favorite? Yes, I do think that Fanny and Alexander is Bergman. Dude, you've seen My Boyfriend's Back? That's fucking awesome. God, I know so many people that haven't seen that movie. It's on YouTube. Yeah, dude. Boyfriend's Back, Johnny Dingle. That film's so great, and it's got the comic book panels. What would you do for Indiana Jones 5? I would reboot the franchise with a different actor because I agree with Plinkett on this. It's not the actor that you love Indiana Jones or the character. It's the idea of the character. Indiana Jones is like James Bond. It's the hat, the whip, and the jacket. You could give a new actor the hat, the whip, and the jacket and have him play Indiana Jones. In fact, everyone said this when Raiders came out. They said, man, I just saw James Bond with an American, and it was even better than James Bond. Harrison Ford's terrific in the original trilogy. They should have started over with a new actor. Once that actor gets old, cast a new actor. Once that actor gets old, cast a new actor. There's no excuse that there hasn't been dozens of Indiana Jones films. And I'm serious about this. You could have kept making Indiana Jones films throughout the 90s. Chris Pratt's the perfect choice for modern-day Indiana Jones, especially after I saw Jurassic World. That movie sucked, but he was great in it as, like, Indiana Jones, basically. But yes, I agree. Cast Chris Pratt for a few movies. Then when he gets too old, cast a new actor. Indiana should never be played by anyone that isn't in their 40s at the oldest. That's the oldest, I think. I don't mind Indiana Jones being in his 40s, but beyond that, it's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. I do think Fanny Alexander's Bergman's best film. I think it's one of the 10 to 20 greatest films of all time. It's not going to be on my favorite movie list, but if I had to be very objective about what I've seen, the full 5-hour cut of that film, it's got an emotional depth that I think Bergman's other films, except maybe The Seventh Seal. See, my problem with Bergman a lot is he's very cold, and his films are a bit, they're not repetitive, but he explores the same themes a lot. It's a lot about the silence of God. And Wild Strawberries or Persona are basically the same movie to me. And I love them. I really love Persona. But the Seventh Seal was this one film where that stuff with Max von Sydow and Death in the Chest, where that stuff really went to another level of philosophy and exploring religion and the fear of death and man's grasp with mortality. And exploring that all throughout the plague and the theater and having the humanity at the end. That film just blew me away. I cry every time I watch The Seventh Seal. It's just an absolutely marvelous piece of work. Fanny Alexander to me is everything that Bergman's career was building to in the same way Kurosawa did it with Ron. Fanny Alexander is him taking his own personal stories from childhood and life and maybe the things that influenced him that make Bergman who he was, that made him have his feelings on God the way he did. And the fact that he takes all those deep adult human themes and gives them to you from the point of view of a child, and the color photography, his cinematographer who worked on all of his films and worked on Crimes and Misdemeanors, Woody Allen's film, it's to me the only film I've seen with the production level at that level of Amadeus or something. I've only seen a handful of films like I think it's called Leopard and a few other films that have production quality. The production values on Fanny and Alexander, the sets, the costumes, is overwhelming. It really takes you back to the time. It feels like a dream that you wake up from as a child. It reminds you of your half-remembered ideas from childhood. It's just absolutely terrific, and I do think it was his best film. A lot of people argue with that, but I think if you watch all of Bergman's films, the whole black and white era and the time of Hour of the Wolf and his Von Sydow collaborations, when you get to Fanny and Alexander, it's all of the craft and skill and storytelling and poetry that he learned over an entire career just transferred into this film. It is his Godfather. You know, it is his Stanley Kubrick. You know, it's his 2001, if you will. It's his Fantasia. I mean, it's the film that he throws it all out there. It makes complete sense. It's got the most dense plot. I think it's got some of the best acting of his works. And yeah, there's just 10-minute stretches of that film, and the stuff with the puppets, there's stretches of that film that are just marvelous. But yeah, it's my favorite Bergman, and I think it's his best. I thought that when I first saw the movie, I was getting over a breakup with a girl, and I was very upset, and I bought the film on Criterion, and I put it in the DVD player late at night, and I was very upset. I was overwhelmed. I was a teenager, so I was brokenhearted. As you feel when the first time you have those feelings, they're different to you than when you get them later, and that couldn't have been a better mindset to be in going into it. And Bergman came back to me with a deep rejoinder, and what he was telling me was that it was going to be okay, because I think it's his most optimistic film, and people don't want to see it that way, but I actually think what's so beautiful about Fanny and Alexander is that he shows you why life's worth living, and not just the consequences of understanding your mortality in an ever-changing and indifferent, cruel universe, which is something that Herzog also does. I think Herzog expresses such humanity in his films that when people think he's cynical, I don't think they understand. He's almost too alive and passionate and real. So his films almost come off cold, but that's because they're so freaking real. And you couldn't love human beings more and respect life more than Herzog. And I think that's what Bergman taps into with that film. It's really good work. Let me get back to the questions. Pitch an idea for a reboot of Transformers. Beast Wars, man. I love it. That's a great idea. Yeah, I've seen Midnight's Edge channel. I watch his channel pretty regularly. I don't know how much of that guy's stuff's legit or him just bullshitting. Like, he always says he has these sources and he tells these stories and they're pretty cool, but I don't know how much of it's an actual source or not. But his videos are very well done. They're like creepypastas. It's pretty good. It's pretty good shit. Let's see. If I had to reboot the Transformers franchise, well, you just do what they should have done in the first place. You build the relationship between the kid and Optimus or Bumblebee or whatnot. It's what they tried to do with Sam Witwicky, but they fucked up. You make it about a kid, a 12, 13-year-old. You do the Stranger Things, Goonies thing. The kid gets a Transformer. He has to take care of it, and it's about the relationship with the kid and the Transformer. And their bond builds over the movie, and the action scenes are secondary to this story between this kid and his robot. It should basically be the Iron Giant. That's your perfect Transformers film, is the Iron Giant. Except, you know, and even have the action climax at the end, except this time he's fighting off Decepticons or something, and the kid's worried his Transformer's going to die. I mean, it should be about the awe of watching a vehicle transform. It should be about the awe of a kid realizing there's life in the universe and that he's not alone. Maybe he's an outsider. Other kids don't like him. He's introspective. So when he meets this robot, it gives him these possibilities for so much more. And as the Transformers transforming, he's transforming his life in a sense. See, Transformers should... If I was going to do it, I would have it be deeper than what it is on the paper. I would have it be that the transformation isn't just about the Transformers transforming, but the kid himself transforming into more of a man or a teenager and growing up and learning who he is, which... You know, I know that sounds like pretentious for Transformers, but you wouldn't have to overdo it. You could do it in that Spielberg way or that Brad Bird way with Iron Giant, and you could explore what it is to value human life and to value other people that are different from you through the eyes of this kid's relationship with the Transformer. There's a lot of potential with Transformers that people don't want to do. He ran for like 3 seconds in The Force Awakens. No, Harrison Ford's running just needs to stop. His agent really needs to tell him to fucking stop running. It's going to be hard for me to see Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones again. No, it's fucking ridiculous if they're going to make him Indiana Jones again. It's fucking ridiculous. He looked silly in the last movie, and he's way too old to be doing it now. It just doesn't work. Yeah, I agree. Harrison Ford should have not played Indiana Jones a while ago. I like the idea of a Transformers animated film, though. I also like the idea of Beast Wars, doing it where they land in the middle of it. What was it, like Africa? And Optimus is a gorilla, and they have to fight like dinosaurs and shit, Decepticons. That would actually be pretty cool. I've talked to Andre for Midnight's Edge every few weeks. I've spoken to his sources who I names can't mention, so it's legit. So he has legit sources, because he just says his sources, and, you know, like, that's like the New York Times. The New York Times is like, we have a source, and that's not... How do you feel about Max von Sydow getting cast again, Force Awakens, a Game of Thrones, and being quickly killed? It upset me. I'll tell you that much. I found it very upsetting in Game of Thrones in particular, because Force Awakens, it felt more like a cameo, which I can deal with. And I don't mind Force Awakens having him in a cameo. It's just like, hey, it's Max von Sydow and he's going to die, and, you know, he might be a prequel character in another film. As for him being the Three-Eyed Raven, it did feel like a waste, because I loved him in the episode 2 Home. I liked it a lot, and I liked pretty much I think we needed more time with him and Bran. I wanted him to talk to Bran more, tell him more about what's going on with the history of Westeros and the backstory. So, yeah, I was pretty unhappy with it on Game of Thrones, because, like, Max von Sydow is one of the greatest actors of all time, so to have him on Game of Thrones was fucking insane. The fact that they even got him to come on. So, why didn't they have him do more? I mean, what he did was cool, but I just can't believe they didn't have him. I mean, he was only in, like, 5 episodes, and he barely had... I don't even think he had 10 minutes of screen time. It's like, dude, fuck this. And they didn't really give him a lot of dialogue or philosophical things to say, or great quotes and lines. You remember Charles Dance, who played Tywin? He was so good. He made Tywin more likable than he was on the page, because the actor made him more three-dimensional with his facial expressions, his eyes. You didn't really know if he was that good or that bad. And Charles Dance had great dialogue throughout the whole show, so it just really helped it. I'm upset how they treated von Sydow in that movie. Thank you for thinking my taste is great. That's I appreciate that. I will say, a lot of people that talk movies on YouTube, a lot of these movie channels, they don't seem to talk about the movies that we're talking about. It does bother me. Like, I never hear conversations about Bergman or Tarkovsky or Kubrick. I mean, sometimes you'll get those channels, but for the most part, people just talk about you know, Star Wars. I'm so sick of seeing videos and film channels being built around fucking Star Wars or Alien or franchises. They don't want to talk about anything beyond a fucking franchise, which is fine. No, Ian McShane in one episode. You're so right. That was ridiculous. Why even have the whole arc where Ian McShane character is supposed to come in and be like the morality for the show, to be an anti-violence, anti-war story, which is Martin's story? Why have Ian McShane come in and do that and only have him be in one episode? Wouldn't it have made more sense to have Ian McShane's character throughout all of season 6? Then it would have had more payoff. By the way, I'm sorry that I didn't do Game of Thrones reviews this season. I said this season I was going to do a live stream review after every episode. I didn't do that, so I have a plan. When this season's over, I'm going to do a season 7 review. So instead of doing a review of every episode every week with you guys, I'm just going to sit down, do a live stream probably, and answer any question you guys have about Game of Thrones. We could talk about the whole season, and we don't have to focus on episode 1, episode 4. And some episodes, you don't know if they're going to be better or worse. Like right now, I'm kind of mixed on this season. But if the next 3 episodes fix a lot of the things that I'm having issues with, it'll make up for a lot of things I'm having issues with. So I have to wait to see the whole season, because I always think Game of Thrones seasons, you can't really take it as an episode by episode. You have to watch Game of Thrones as a whole, because it's more like a really long movie than it is. It used to feel like chapters to a novel, but now it just feels like a long movie. So you kind of have to watch until season 7's over. We really don't know what they're doing and what a lot of these story beats mean. You're a Fellini fan. Are you a Dolce Vita guy or 8.5 guy? Both. But both. I think 8.5 is, I bought that at a Hastings when I was 16. And I watched it the same night I first saw Cinema Paradiso, so you can just expect that. if I had to rank the greatest films of all time that are about filmmaking that I've seen, Ed Wood, American Movie, and then 8.5 is like right there. I think La Dolce Vita is one of the like greatest films of all time too. 30 greatest films of all time. My favorite Fellini might even be Armored. I think it's Armored because it's a lot like Cinema Paradiso. And I'm just a fan about coming-of-age stories. If you can't tell on my channel, I love stories about small towns and families and villages and period pieces and little kids and teenagers. And that's just... I like stories about boys becoming men and the people that are around them that affect them, that make them the men who they are. That's just something that always gets me. I like all Fellini. I mean, you pretty much can't name a Fellini film that I don't like to some extent. I'm a huge... God, that one that he did early on. The one that takes place in the circus. God, I can't think of the name of the circus one. I haven't seen... But out of the foreign directors, Fellini's probably my favorite. Out of the famous foreign directors you're supposed to... Well, maybe Kurosawa. Kurosawa's pretty damn good. With Cars 3 underperforming, do you think Incredibles 2 will go the same route? No. Incredibles 2 is a guaranteed box office hit. Here's the difference between the Cars franchise and the difference between the Incredibles franchise. Cars 1 wasn't that popular. It did good. It did really good, but all of that was off the goodwill of Pixar. Then the merchandise is where that made money. They made like 10 bill. The second film did good, but it really wasn't a huge hit sequel compared... Yeah, La Strada. Thank you. Thank you, La Strada. Yeah, I love La Strada. I've only seen that film, like, twice. I saw it on TCM, and then I watched it online once, but I love that movie. So I'm going to have to... I need to watch that again. I haven't seen La Strada in years, but I remember thinking it was absolutely terrific. So I would say the difference here is that by the time Cars 3 came out, nobody wanted it, because Cars 2 was awful. And people did not like it. It was considered universally Pixar's worst film. And people obviously could tell it was made for the merchandising. This film, I knew Cars 3 was going to underperform. There was no way Cars 3 was going to break out and be a hit. However, Incredibles, people wanted a sequel to that right after that movie was released. And I think you need to look more at the Finding Dory box office. Finding Nemo was a film that was universally loved, considered an instant classic, and made like 800 million worldwide. The second film, 10 years later, makes $1 billion. So my guess here is The Incredibles. First film made 630 million back in 2003. Long time ago. I'd say that film's almost guaranteed $1 billion. I'd say easily that film's going to open 150 million, 300 mil domestic, 600 mil plus foreign. I mean, I think Incredibles 2, especially in the superheroes are so much bigger now than they were then. Even if that film makes $800 million, it's still going to be a huge hit. But I just don't see The Incredibles at least grossing what the first movie did, if not more. And Monsters University was a huge hit too. So when they make a sequel or prequel to a beloved franchise, it seems to work. But the Cars franchise never really became beloved. So I would say that, because the Toy Story sequels all made money too. And they waited a long time in between Toy Story 3 and 2, and that did fine. Also, I don't blame you for not remembering McShane and Pirates. Man, I remember being so pumped for Pirates 4 because Ian McShane was in it as Blackbeard. And I saw the trailers, and I thought that movie was going to be so badass. And then it was just like, God damn it, this movie fucking sucks. It's as bad as the third one. No! Dude, Pixar has been hit and miss. It's heartbreaking. It's weird when the Disney films are better than the Pixar films. Moana was better than Finding Dory. Like, what the fuck? Why was Moana better than Finding Dory? That makes no sense. Finding Nemo is one of my favorite films of all time, and Finding Dory was so dull and boring. It was just a fucking remake of Finding Nemo. And then Moana's this, like, amazing classic Disney princess story with The Rock stealing the damn movie. Have you seen the short In a Heartbeat, and what do you think about kids shows and movies using the media for LGBT messages and themes? I think I've seen that. In a Heartbeat? I'm not sure. It sounds familiar. Maybe you could tell me what it is, and I could give you a better answer. Because I might not know the name. off the top of my head. I've seen a lot of short films, so that's very... I mean, I've been to film festivals where I'm not kidding, I've watched 50 short films in a weekend at a film festival, so I've seen a lot. So it's hard to remember every title. Yeah, Incredibles was 2004. So right there, dude, you got 13 years. And there's been nothing but love for Incredibles since it came out. People don't like Incredibles any less now than they did back then, just like Finding Nemo didn't lose any love. So I don't see why it wouldn't perform like Finding Dory. I mean, it may not do as well as Finding Dory, but I still think it's guaranteed to make a shitload of money. I mean, it's the fucking Incredibles. And you know it's going to have a good trailer. And there's Brad Bird's making this, guys. Brad Bird's never made a film outside of Tomorrowland that wasn't pretty much fucking great. So I have nothing... Oh, dude, I agree. Pixar should do a CGI Star Wars film. And you know they should get to do it? Genndy Tartakovsky, and he should do it like that Clone Wars series he did in the early 2000s that kicked fucking ass and had the best action scenes in Star Wars history. I would love to see him. Get him away from Sony doing Hotel Transylvania and bring him over to Pixar. That guy is so wasted. What the fuck is Tartakovsky not doing working at Pixar? I just don't get it. He's so good. He's clearly like the best action director out there. Oh, Moana was so good. Moana was so good. How do you feel about Almost Famous Cameron Crowe? Well, I have a review for that movie on the channel. Oh, how do I feel about him post Almost Famous? My bad. I misread that. I'm sorry. He sucks, to be honest. I don't really want to be that blunt because Cameron Crowe is one of my favorite directors. He really is. Like, Say Anything's one of my favorite films ever, easily. And so is Fast Times, his screenplay, and Almost Famous. But Elizabethtown, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. It's more like a film that's miscast. Orlando Bloom and Kirsten Dunst are terrible in it. And it would have been a much better film with a better two leads who had more chemistry. And it's just too long. I don't actually hate Elizabethtown. I think it starts kind of interesting with him making a suicide machine. But it falls apart, and then We Bought a Zoo was like a Lifetime movie. And then after that, I didn't even go see Aloha. And I watched his show, Roadies, which I was really excited about, and it wasn't very good either. So, I don't know if Cameron Crowe just lost it. I'm not really sure. Oh, wait, actually, I like Vanilla Sky. A lot of people don't like Vanilla Sky. Hey, Dunst may be a cunt, but she showed her boobies in Melancholia, and her boobs are amazing. So at least give her a pass for that, dude. Okay, she's not hiding that nice rack. Hey, a live stream hasn't been around for one in so long. Yeah, hey, Luna. Yeah, I haven't been doing them on a regular basis. I just haven't had time. And, you know, with what YouTube's been doing to me lately, it's been a little discouraging. And I've been trying to work more on, spending a little bit more times on my videos. The Suicide Cycle. Yeah, I think the Suicide Cycle was a great idea. I really think that was genius and very funny. And I really do like, I do like Vanilla Sky. The ending's kind of disappointing, and it's not as good as the original film, In Your Eyes. But I still think Vanilla Sky, people underrate that film. That film has amazing cinematography. And it uses Sugar Ross at the end, which is one of my favorite post-rock bands, and it's terrific. Yeah, Cameron Crowe made like 4 movies since Almost Famous, and yeah, Vanilla Sky is the only one I think's worth watching. I think Vanilla Sky actually gets better with age. I think it's aged really well, and people weren't fair to it. Oh, the original is better. I agree. I'm not arguing with you. The Spanish original is better. But I still think Vanilla Sky's a good movie. I still think people... I think the mask he wears is creepy. I think it's still that Times Square sequence when he runs down Times Square. That's amazing. That's one of the greatest moments in cinematic history for me, is when Tom Cruise goes through an empty Times Square. And it was done on camera. Pretty badass. Vanilla Sky's basically a director being indulgent as shit and wanking off with $100 million. Which is fine. I prefer seeing that than the boring crap we get. Crow still has a good movie in him, I think. I think he needs to break out of his comfort zone. Like Aloha and We Bought a Zoo and Elizabethtown are him trying to recapture Jerry Maguire. He keeps trying to do Jerry Maguire again. And I think he needs to, you know, I don't want to say reinvent himself entirely, but do what Woody Allen did with Match Point, where Woody Allen did a very serious film that was closer to crimes and misdemeanors, and he set it in a different location, and he used different actors, and he had to kind of change his rhythms. And I think that would help Cameron Crowe. I think he needs to make, like, I'm going to go crazy here and say, like, make a horror scene. Make, like, a horror movie. Oh, dude, me too. But I'd be crazy. I'd almost say, like, Cameron Crowe make, like, a horror film or a sci-fi. Like, he really needs to get out of his comfort zone. A Western. And I mean that because some guy, Lawrence Kasdan, did that with Silverado. And I think he could make a movie like a Tombstone. I could see Cameron Crowe making a film like Tombstone or something like that. A really entertaining Western. But I don't really think... Vanilla Sky is a good Tom Cruise performance. It's underrated. People underrate the shit out of it. I don't... That whole movie to me is underrated. I get why people don't like it, but they act like it's all bad when there's a lot of really good qualities about that movie. It's got some good dialogue, and it's ambitious as all hell. In fact, I would give that movie a Criterion release if I had the choice. What's your favorite superhero movie? That's a tough one. It's probably a tie between Superman the movie by Rick Donner, even though I think the second half's not as good, and Batman Begins by Christopher Nolan. And I'm probably going to lean more on the Batman Begins end just because I think it's got a better second half. Although the second halves are both weaker than the first halves. So Batman Begins. Batman's my favorite superhero. He's always been my favorite superhero since I was a kid, pretty much. Green Lantern's always been up there, and Mr. Miracle, and Daredevil. But Batman Begins is the first movie they ever made where it's about Bruce the Man, and not Bruce Wayne as the movie character, the movie cliche. Batman Begins is about the guy underneath the mask. And it's funny, a lot of the comics don't explore that. The comics, there are Bruce Wayne stories, and the animated series did a terrific job with making Bruce Wayne relatable. Mask of the Phantasm. I don't think his performance is overrated in Magnolia, but I can see why you feel that way. But I don't personally feel that way. I think he has much more overrated performances than that one. I think Top Gun is extremely overrated, even though it got bad reviews. I don't know how anyone could like that film. Yeah, respect the cock and tame the cunt. I had a thought going because I got on this Magnolia thing. I mean, he didn't win that year, if that makes you happy. Michael Caine won that year, so it's not like Tom Cruise won an Oscar. And a lot of people thought he was going to win that year. I've always liked Tom Cruise, man. Tom Cruise is one of the most consistent Hollywood actors ever. There's not a movie that Tom Cruise phones his performance in. Even when he's not great in a movie, he's trying. He's trying to be good in it. It's just maybe he was miscast. But I've never seen a movie where Tom Cruise was legitimately bad without it being the fault somewhat of the screenplay or the director. Because people underrate it. Like, go back and watch Jerry Maguire. And pay attention to Tom Cruise in that movie. He's a revelation in it. I mean, he's amazing. It's so good. I mean, it's a layered performance. It's the coldness and lack of emotion that Tom Cruise can really present in Jerry Maguire. As an actor, he's always kind of had limited range. He's a great actor, but he only has his tics. But that only makes his performance as Jerry better. Him as Jerry Maguire, he is that guy. He can play that guy, a guy who's begging for a human connection and to get out of this life that he's created for himself. And that's so good for Tom Cruise. And I don't know, that performance, you go back and watch it. Oh, Edge of Tomorrow, man, great. Best Tom Cruise movie in years. Yeah, Magnolia, man. Magnolia, hint, might make an appearance on my top 20 favorite film lists. I'm not saying it's going to, or maybe not, but just a little hint. You might be seeing Magnolia pop up somewhere here soon in the 20 favorite film list. Because it might come out that I'm a fan of movies from 1999, and I might be a fan of certain directors from the 90s, like Paul Thomas Anderson or David Fincher. Just saying. A bad performance in a movie you like, and a great performance in a movie you hate. That is a terrific question. That might be the best question yet. I'll answer the second one first. Michael Parks in Tusk. Tusk is a terrible movie, except Kevin Smith he has a great idea. He has like a misery idea for like 15 minutes of that movie where Justin Long's kidnapped by Michael Parks, and Michael Parks starts telling the story about the walrus and cuts off Justin Long's legs. That like 20-30 minute stretch with Michael Parks is fucking amazing. It's great. It's the best movie Kevin Smith's ever made for about 20 minutes. It's scary. It's real. It's just like a Stephen King book or something. I mean, it's great. I love it. And you realize, like, Kevin Smith could have made a horror film. And the movie, though, after that is awful. The opening scene's awful. All the stuff outside of Justin Long in that segment's terrible. Haley Joel Osment. Terrible ending. I pretty much hate everything about that movie, even the walrus costume. But Michael Parks gives, like, borderline an awards-worthy performance in that movie. He's acting his fucking ass off in Tusk. And it's like a Tarantino moment. It's like, damn, this dude can really this guy deserved this. So that's the first one that comes to mind that I've seen in the last few years. I've seen a lot of bad movies that have great performances. The car scene at Jerry Maguire. I also think about the scene when he's getting fired and he realizes he's getting fired and he realizes it's his way of getting fired. He's like, invite them to dinner, invite them in a social place. They won't make a scene. And he starts realizing that he's getting fired because it's the way he taught this guy how to fire people. That's very funny. Let's see. A bad performance in a movie you like. Recently, Baby Driver. Really liked Baby Driver. Thought that Jamie Foxx was fucking awful in it. And very miscast. And here's the thing, I like Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx is a cool guy. He's a likable guy. I saw him on Joe Rogan's podcast. I think he's been good in other movies like Collateral. He just was not good in Baby Driver. He's trying to play a Joe Pesci Goodfellas type role, and it's bad. And it took me out of the movie a lot. I was watching the movie, and I was really enjoying it, and then Jamie Foxx just did not do it for me ever. And I thought, fuck, you miscast this way off, Edgar. Like, this was a bad choice. So I can easily say recently Baby Driver. I did like the movie a lot. Thought it was great. Thought the casting was pretty on point. Outside of Jamie Foxx, I don't know why he even thought Jamie Foxx was a good idea. You watch it, like, how the hell did he pass the screen test? What were your thoughts on that? I thought Star Trek 09 was great, actually. I mean, the script is flawed, and it's got plot holes out the ass, and it doesn't make a lot of sense, but the pacing, I think it's a better Star Wars film than Force Awakens. I'll say that much. I think Abrams made a better Star Wars film on a Star Trek flick than he made on his actual Star. It looks more expensive than Force Awakens and has better set design and more energy, and I even like the special effects and space battles more and shit. Like, I remember walking out of that movie and going, yeah, he should do Star Wars. And then I saw Force Awakens, and I was like, where was all that shit from the Star Wars movie, man? What the hell? What happened to all that, like... I mean, the comedy and quick movement was there, but, like... I don't know. I actually thought that Trek 09 was quite a cinematic experience when they fall to the planet and fight on the Vulcan thing. I thought the cast was amazing. It made me a Chris Pine fanboy. Zachary Quinto, Simon Pegg. It's definitely the best script that Orky and Kurtzman ever wrote, no question. Really, really good flick. I mean, I don't know how it holds up, but I've seen it like 8 times, and I liked it every time I saw it. I know Star Trek purists don't like it, and I get that. But if you just watch it as a movie, it's just a summer action film, it's really good. It's one of Abrams' better paced flicks. And it doesn't have a lot of the boring, stupid shit that was in Super 8 or Into Darkness and all that crap. It doesn't even have that much of a mystery box to it. It's pretty straightforward. I don't like the time travel plot, but I get the time travel plot. There wasn't much else you could do. Your favorite scene from a terrible movie? What's my favorite scene in a terrible movie? That's actually a really funny question. Cabin Fever. Cabin Fever, pancakes. Where the kid starts flipping pancakes and does karate moves. I hate Cabin Fever and Eli Roth, but that scene is so fucking weird and crazy and just amazing. And I watch that scene all the time. So that's one for me. Like, I love that scene in Cabin Fever, the pancake scene. What's your least favorite scene from a great movie? Now, that's a really good question, because there's a lot of great films that have scenes that could be cut. And that's something that I think about a lot. You watch a great movie and you're like, you know, is this scene necessary? And I'm sure directors have that, you know, they make the movie for years in their head after it's done. Then he did have more freedom with Trek 09. You are right about that. Yeah, Kathleen Kennedy was up his ass. I agree. Yeah, because I don't know. Oh, Trek 09 was just a more entertaining movie to me than Force Awakens. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I just felt like it was a much more entertaining flick. I thought the characters came across a lot better. I thought the action scenes were a lot better, actually. I mean, just everything about it. It just kind of, it was just a more enjoyable movie. Force Awakens, yeah, it really is the only good script Kurtzman and Orky ever wrote that had some good lines to it. I don't know, least favorite scene from a great movie. Probably, okay, I'll say this. The Godfather, the first one, when Michael goes off to Sicily for a while and gets married, and there's that montage of the wedding before the girl gets blown up in the car. I don't know if the movie needs that. I really don't. I've often thought when I watch The Godfather, I'm like, does this movie need this whole sequence when he goes off and gets married to this girl, and this kind of makes him not a good guy anymore? I don't think that scene, if you cut it, would affect the movie at all. Because I'm just saying the wedding segment. I think you could have Michael meet the girl and get with her and then her die. But they spend a long time on him, like, going to meet her father and then going to, like, court her for a while. And then, I don't know. I just don't know if the movie needed it. Like, you don't really need to focus on Michael doing that stuff. Oh, dude, you're right. You have the best answer. The bookends of Saving Private Ryan. God, you just gave the best. Yeah, that's the answer. Yeah, the final scene to Saving Private Ryan. God damn you, Steven Spielberg. You sentimental motherfucker. He did the same thing as Schindler's List. Schindler's List has this... You go back to every Spielberg film that's a drama, starting with Empire of the Sun. He just can't help but get schmaltzy. Schindler's List, you have the damn movie, it's so perfect. And then you got that whole, like, I could have saved more. I could have saved more. And he starts crying and all that. And it's like, damn it, dude. You just had to go all the way. He wants to make you cry. And when you watch Saving Private Ryan... That movie's so fucking good. I mean, because you don't need that opening scene where they go to the fucking cemetery. You just jump into Normandy. And it's got a perfect ending with Tom Hanks grabbing Matt Damon and saying, earn this. That's so beautiful. Earn this. Earn this. And then all the guys come around him and you have the letter being read. And you end the movie right there and you could fade out to the American flag. It would be overwhelming, and it would be just Steven Spielberg just jumping into the film like, here's a documentary, and here's the film, watch it, follow these guys, and here's the story. Instead, because of those bookends, he gives you this crappy prologue, epilogue thing, where at the end you have that old Matt Damon, was I a good man? Did I live a good life? Did I earn this? That ruins the idea of Tom Hanks saying earn this, because then we get a cheesy cut immediately to him as an old man asking his old wife if he earned this. Just because Spielberg wants to make you cry, and he has the old guy salute the grave and all that. It's like, damn, dude. You didn't have to do that. It's an issue Spielberg has. He never wants to follow through with the logical conclusion. And Saving Private Ryan has that issue. Tom Hanks is shooting at the tank. If Steven Spielberg would have stuck to his guns, he would have had that tank blow Tom Hanks' fucking body into shreds. Instead, he has the jets fly in and blow the tank up, and it's kind of this moment. Tom Hanks gets the last movie moment. It doesn't bother me, but the whole movie is so realistic, and people die like Platoon, and you don't just get out. And then at the very end, it gets too much like a movie. And Spielberg, at his best, is Saving Private Ryan and Schindler's List, those sequences that are so realistic, and the craft and the way he does the cinematography, the saturation to look like those old photographs. Just amazing movie. And I love his sentimental work. I actually love... I do. Dude, I agree. Close Encounters, E.T. Whenever he does the sentimentality there, they totally work. I don't mind that. It's him doing it in those serious films like Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan. They didn't need them. The films feel like documentaries. They're trying to capture a real tragedy. Those moments feel like movies. They feel like scenes that were written for a movie. They don't feel like the film that he's presenting to you. I mean, the stuff he's doing is top quality filmmaking. I mean, it is at the level of, like, we were talking about Tarkovsky or Bergman. I mean, he's making a great classic film. I mean, he's making as true... I mean, he reinvented the war film. He showed us the violence, and he gave us an appreciation we never had. My favorite Steven Spielberg movie. God, I thought this would be an easy answer, honestly. I thought I would just be able to say off the top of my head, because... It's funny, you know, some days it's Sugarland Express, because I think about that movie a lot, and how good it is, and Duel. And Jaws is probably his best movie, if you're being fair. If you're looking at all of his films, you're saying, what was the film he did his best? Because Jaws is really Hitchcock level. I mean, it really is. But for me personally, my favorite is probably it's probably Schindler's List, Jurassic Park, and they came out the same year, and I grew up on Schindler's List. I do think is pretty amazing. It's funny how entertaining it is while being so traumatizing. I really like Empire of the Sun. Close Encounters is a masterpiece. But I'd say some days it's Schindler's List, and some days it's Sugarland Express. Some days I really love that movie, and I think that's his best film. Or it's my favorite. I don't think it's his best, but it's my favorite. It's the one that sticks with me the most. There's almost like a Miyazaki quality to it. And I think Spielberg and Miyazaki have a lot in common. When I watch Empire of the Sun now, there's that flight sequence. You know, the pink Cadillacs in the sky. And it reminds me of a Miyazaki flight sequence, actually. Unless I'm forgetting a Spielberg film I like more than those films. I mean, I love Raiders and E.T. and all that, but I hate to be cliche, it probably is Schindler's List. I think that is Spielberg, the best film he ever made, and I think it's his most entertaining film because it's got all this artistry and craft and a great story, but it's as entertaining and well-made as any other Steven Spielberg film. And he reinvented his filmmaking style. He went to handheld, and he didn't use, I don't think he used any dolly or crane shots or anything like that. It's really impressive. And I'm fascinated by the cinematography of Schindler's List. It reminds me, I think that film is at the level of Orson Welles. I really do. I think that craft in that film is at the level of Orson Welles, and I think it has a lot of shots that are similar to Orson Welles. And I think it shows Spielberg how good he really was, that he was Orson Welles good. Like, oh... You know, when people try to just shit on Spielberg at film school and stuff, they really don't know what they're talking about. Is there ever a movie that had one bad thing about it that killed the whole movie for you? I'm sure. I'm sure that's happened before. Oh, well, you know, No Country for Old Men comes to mind. I gotta be honest, I really am with the people that think they fuck up the third act in that movie, killing off the lead character off camera. And it becoming this pseudo-intellectual bullshit about good and evil and Tommy Jones talking to the old man. And I know that's what's in the original novel, but in the original novel, the sheriff is like the narrator of the story and a bigger presence thematically. He's really not that big of a presence throughout No Country. He's more of a side character that comes into focus. And they're trying to do the Francis McDormand thing from Fargo. And what sucks is No Country for Old Men is the Coen brothers' best film for 2 acts. For 2 acts, it's Blood Simple meets Fargo. It's all the humor and quirk and depth of Fargo with all that great neo-noir and serious darkness that they did with Blood Simple. It's an amazing film for like 90 minutes. And then they fucking kill off Llewellyn off camera, and it doesn't feel earned to me. I get it even in a book reading it and getting from the sheriff's point of view, but in the movie, Llewellyn's the main character, and the movie sets you up for the good guy versus the bad guy on the phone. And people say, well, hey, so many movies give you the same cliche ending. This one did something different. Oh, Blood Meridian's amazing. Best Western. What's that line in Blood Meridian? It's the most fucked up line ever, but from the judge. You see this, he looks at a wall of creatures on this earth, of things that are living, and he says something like, any creature that lives on this earth without my knowledge does so without my consent. Any creature that is alive that I don't know of does so, lives without my consent. Which I think is like one of the darkest lines a villain's ever said in literature. Man, why isn't Blood Meridian a movie already? What the fuck? And no, not the James Franco one, but... Yeah, what the hell? No, Blood Meridian's amazing. Big Cormac McCarthy fan. I've read his, Cities of the Plain, that trilogy, the one with the 2 cowboy guys, The Road. God, I'm just trying to I've read Pagan Babies was Elmer Leonard. For some reason, I get Elmer Leonard mixed up with Cormac McCarthy, even though they have totally different writing styles. But I used to read both of them at the same time, and Joe Lansdale, and I used to talk about because I've read at least 12 Elmer Leonard novels, and I know I've read every book I could find of Cormac McCarthy. I don't think there's any I have. I've read all the big ones. What's a statement about a movie that people repeat that drives you nuts? What, you mean like what people think about a movie? Like what they think about, like, or I don't necessarily understand the question. Sorry. Maybe that's, I'm trying not to be a douche. I just don't really understand, how you mean that exactly. Oh, damn, I lost chat. Come on. Hold on, guys. Okay, we're back. Favorite chase sequence from a movie? Foot chase or car chase? Because those would be different answers. Car chase. Damn, that's a. It definitely would be between Bullet and The French Connection, but those are cliches. There's one with Daphne Coleman where he's a guy who has an insurance policy out on his life, and he's trying to kill himself, this cop. I can't remember the name of the movie. It's like Reckless or something. And he has this car chase where he keeps trying to kill himself, but he keeps saving the day. It's actually pretty amazing. I thought the car chase in Baby Driver were pretty good. Foot chase would probably be the one in Point Break with Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze where he kicks the dog. I mean, I made a whole video about that damn scene. There's a fucking scene in that movie where Keanu kicks a dog. It's genius. What franchise has the biggest apologist? Alien. Alien. And I can tell you from making my Alien vids that is absolutely confirmed by me. Let's get this out of the way, guys. And I'm trying to be as nice as possible here. There's really only 2 good Alien flicks, and if we're being kind, 3 good Alien flicks. 3. And none of them are as great as the first one. And if we're really being honest here, most of the games and literature and comic books, while there is some good stuff, I don't know, it's like the Alien fanboys, they think of the franchise as some kind of, like the white elephant, like it's better than Star Wars, or that it's better than Star Trek, or that it's, because it's the mix of horror and sci-fi, and it was a masterpiece, and it's everything, but the Alien franchise has just as many stinkers in it as any other franchise. It has just as many plot holes and issues in it. It has just as... I mean, Ridley Scott's pulling a George Lucas right now as far as I'm concerned. So, I don't know. Alien fans, they seem to think that they're not as much in denial as prequel fanboys were. But it's the same thing. It's the same thing to me. And I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong. There could be another franchise. Like, obviously, Transformers fans who like that shitty movie series. But the Alien people seem to think that because they like Alien Resurrection or this Alien film that somehow it's some underrated masterpiece. Oh, Alien Isolation was good. But it's always a ridiculous argument to me, like Alien 3 or Alien 4 are these underappreciated masterpieces. There are good things about those movies, and there are better... The assembly cut is better, but they're still flawed as shit. And people just want to ignore that. It almost seems like Alien fanboys never want to acknowledge the... Because I think Harry Potter fans are pretty on point. I think, they suck J.K. Rowling's dick too much, but Star Wars fans, they were always... Everyone likes Star Wars, but the Alien fans, man, they're defensive. And they are, they're too forgiving. They're too forgiving to the mistakes made in the franchise previously. I should have provided an example, like when people say Tim Burton directed The Nightmare Before Christmas. Oh, yes. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Alien and Aliens are great. I agree. The first 2 are great. And I really don't think any other films are worth talking about in a series. I mean, they're like Alien 3 is good. I like Alien 3, but it's not a great movie or some masterpiece. And outside of that, we got AVP 1 and 2 and Prometheus and all that. I mean, there's really nothing... There's nothing to cling on to. I mean, Prometheus is generic sci-fi. You'd get so much more from sci-fi literature. You're right, the DCEU does have apologists. You're right. You're completely right. I agree with that. Yeah, that's okay. I get what you mean then. Okay, so like Tim Burton directed The Nightmare Before Christmas. Okay, so when people like make mistakes and expressions that are wrong. Okay, let's see. What'd be a good one on that? I'd say, oh, one that I get all the time. Oh, well, this is more a comic book thing. People think Jon Stewart was the first Green Lantern, that he was black. They have no idea that there was Green Lanterns before that, even before Hal Jordan. Let me see. Also, prequel fanboy, but don't ask me to defend episode 2. Yeah, I don't think anyone tries to defend episode 2. Like, it's funny, I've seen apologists for Phantom Menace, and I've seen some pretty good stuff about that, and Revenge of the Sith a lot of people defend. Nobody will give Attack of the Clones a pass. Nobody can explain that movie. Even the good shit in it, he just ripped off from Ridley Scott. It's just the city from Blade Runner and then the Colosseum from Gladiator. I shit you not. George Lucas just stole, copy-pasted Ridley Scott's films. It was like, yeah, I could do Ridley Scott. That's what I'll be. It's like, oh, I'm not Ridley Scott. Whoops. The fuck is this Harry Potter movie? Oh, where the hell was this wizard shootout? Oh, it's the dragon sequence. That's right. Sorry, Harry Potter's on TV. Deathly Hallows Part 2. This dragon sequence is pretty awesome in this movie in Gringotts. Like, this is like Game of Thrones dragon. The dragon looks great. Actually looks... I'm looking at this. Fuck, that dragon looks good. Some good CGI. It's aged really well from 2011. Alright, guys. I'm gonna wrap it up here soon. We're running a little late on this. And it's only like 2 or 3 of you have been asking questions, which I don't mind, but, you know, I was trying to answer questions for multiple people. The debate on Spielberg directing Poltergeist always bothered me. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, you guys got any last questions for the videos real quick about what's going on with anything, or do you have anything you want to ask me? Anything last call here. If there's anything in particular you want to know. I mean, he half directed it. I think there's a 50-50 Poltergeist because he was on the set and made a lot of decisions. Because, I mean, Tobe Hooper was a fucking cokehead and was out of his mind for that. I mean, like, I think Tobe Hooper did a lot of the cinematography and framed a lot of the shots, and you could tell his shots. And I think Spielberg oversaw a lot of this. He oversaw the storyboards even, which means he was kind of a director. I mean, I think it was a collaboration, really. People just want to view it as one way or the other. I don't think they want to see it as that these two guys could have worked together to make the movie. And Spielberg might have just had, you know, Spielberg couldn't direct the movie because of the Directors Guild. They wouldn't let him do that in E.T. at the same time. So the theory is that he basically ghost directed the film during the making of it. And, you know, there's a lot to back this up. I love classical music. Yes. Bach, probably. What should be on Criterion other than Vanilla Sky? Well, I used to always say Fantastic Planet, but Fantastic Planet did get a Criterion release. Thank you. I appreciate you, Shane, for watching the content. Thank you for being here on the live stream, man. It means a lot to me, any of you guys being here. What should Criterion release other than Vanilla Sky? Brain Damage by Frank Henenlotter. That would be one that I very much would like to see a release on Criterion. Jeez, God, I always had a list to do a list of movies I wanted Criterion to release. It's funny, one of them used to be The Game by David Fincher, and then that did get a release, which is pretty fucking crazy. I'd have to get back to you. I think I had this conversation with my friend Scumbag, and we used to talk about films we wanted released on Criterion all the time, because we both buy Criterions on a pretty regular basis, and we own a lot of the house, like Hausu. One last question. Would you do another live stream doing a response to a video? Yeah, of course I would do a live stream doing a response to a video. I've done live streams as responses to videos. The Superwoman live stream, the Patriarchy versus Superwoman, that was a response to a video. And the Patriarchy versus Riley Dennis, a lot of that was a response to a video. So I have done that before in the past. So that's off the top of my head. Maybe some Jonathan Demme movies. Although I think they've released a couple of his films on Criterion, because I'm a pretty big Jonathan Demme fan. God, I'm trying to think. What the fuck movie would I want to get released on Criterion that really should get, that would be like an awesome one that I would go buy day of, right? Like just fucking, okay, I kind of got a weird one. This one I went, although I think Scream Factory released a pretty good disc of it. Don Coscarelli, I don't remember how to say his last name. Phantasm from the 70s. Phantasm's pretty great. The Sentinel Spheres. I wouldn't mind Criterion releasing that shit. That would be pretty cool. That'd be kind of metal. I think they released Phantom at the Paradise. Damn, a lot of my answers. Kayana Skotsky. I don't know if that was ever released. Yeah, I like conversation streams too, man. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do a mix. I'm gonna do conversation streams. This was to celebrate the 4,000 subs and you guys who've all subbed. I'm gonna do. Yes, I agree. Swimming to Cambodia. Yes, good choice. Yeah. I wouldn't mind a Philadelphia release from Criterion. I actually am very forgiving of Philadelphia despite its sentimental trappings and courtroom procedural cliches. I still think Philadelphia is terrific, and it's got that great opera sequence in it. That's very good. Yeah, these are streams I used to do, but basically I want to have conversations with you guys. Then I'm going to do some more Pat streams where I respond to videos and look at feminist articles or stuff going on. And I'll try to cover what happened recently. Yeah, that Superwoman live stream I absolutely loved. When I went and watched the reaction videos where people didn't do anything, I watched that guy who drank orange juice for like an hour. I thought that was so fucking funny. Yeah, I'm gonna do more of those. I'm gonna keep doing the weekend box office streams every Sunday. Every Sunday, I'm not, unless I'm sick or something, but every Sunday I'm gonna get up, work on that. I always check them a couple times before I let you guys know. I'm very excited about the one this weekend because we have the new Annabelle film coming out. And I could hopefully clarify some of my points about Spider-Man Homecoming because people seem to think that I said the film was a bomb and I never said that. I probably just didn't see your comment, man. I'm sorry. Let me see. What was your comment? Who is a big actor you can't stand? I'm sorry, I missed it. It was just my eyes didn't catch it. Who's a big actor I can't stand? Shit, who isn't a big actor I can't stand? Is a better question. I can't stand Meryl Streep anymore. I can't stand Robert De Niro anymore. Pretty much any celebrity that has been in any of these bullshit virtue signaling videos or at any of these award shows talking shit and pushing the regressive narrative, I can't stand. So, a lot. I mean, there's really, I mean, the list goes on and on. I really can't stand Kate McKinnon at all. I hate Kate McKinnon. I mean, Jesus, there's there's more actors that I don't like probably than I do like anymore. They really, not that I don't think some of them are great actors. Obviously, Rob De Niro's a great actor. But yeah, I'd say, yeah, what actor do I, I don't like a lot of them actually that I can't stand them. I think they're smug. I think they're arrogant. Oh, reaction. I'm going to do a whole video on reaction videos where I'm just going to really go after them. I want to do a series where I go after reaction videos, like how iDubbbz does Kickstarter crap. I want to do reaction video crap. Like, I just want to cover all these reaction channels and why their video is shit, and I don't get why people sub to it, and they get more. That guy had 50,000 subs, and all he did was sit there and drink orange juice. He sat there and drank orange juice for 4 minutes while he watched a video. Hey, Eva La Renaissance. How you doing? I love Matthew McConaughey, actually. It might be because we're both from Texas, and he's got that voice, and he's all right, and you know he's made himself a better actor in the last few years, and he was Russ Cole, you know, he was on True Detective, and I really like True Detective. I actually love McConaughey. I think he's humble. He even now that when Sam Shepard died, they asked him about it on the red carpet, and he was like, oh, he passed on, man. You know, no, Homecoming is a hit. People seem to think that I was saying Homecoming was a bomb. I was never saying that. All I was trying to say was that Sony mishandled the franchise, and the box office returns on this film, just in the numbers it's doing, is on par with what Amazing Spider-Man was doing in 2012, which shows the franchise really didn't expand much from then to now, and this was including Iron Man and the Marvel tie-in. So what I was just trying to say is if Sony didn't have Iron Man, which is what I said in my Dark Tower video, and I meant by Iron Man, Marvel, if Marvel Iron Man wasn't helping Sony, if they didn't set that Spider-Man up in Civil War and cast Downey Jr., My argument is that that film, if they had to do another Spider-Man movie, another reboot or something, it would have done awful. I think it would have done like 600 mil worldwide, which is not good for a Spider-Man movie. I think, I know Michael Shannon being in that was traumatizing. It really was. It's not like I wasn't trying to say Spider-Man Homecoming's a huge hit, but you have to think, it's because Marvel handled the budget. It being 175 million is Marvel. That's a Marvel budget. Sony's last 2 Spider-Man films have been over 200 fucking million. Their last 3. They handled a lot of the script, the director, a lot of the things that happened in that movie were Sony. So all I was trying to say is that this isn't really a win for Sony. Spider-Man Homecoming's a big hit, but it's more of a win for Marvel, who gets to use Spider-Man in their films and gets the merchandising money, where Sony's just going to get the film profits. It'll be like 150 million probably. They'll probably make 150 million and then they'll make money, but that's not going to save Sony. They still have all those bombs. Baby Driver and Spider-Man aren't enough to save Sony, so that's all I was trying to explain. I was never trying to say Spider-Man itself was doing bad. I was just trying to say that it's not the win for Sony that people are trying to make it out to be, because it's the only film they have that's really a hit, and it's more of an MCU hit than it is a Sony movie franchise hit. And you have to wonder how much of the box office is inflated by the presence of Robert fucking Downey Jr. The biggest actor in the world is in the movie. And people hate when I bring that point up, but I'm like, take Iron Man out of the movie. I don't think... Now, yeah, I agree, in China and Japan it's going to be a huge hit, of course. The film could end up even making 850, 900 mil worldwide, so it's a hit, no doubt. I just said Sony could still end up selling Spider-Man because that one movie's not enough to keep Sony Productions alive. Most of their films are underperforming. All I see is them selling Spider-Man to Marvel in the next few years. That's all I see. Do you think the new Flash movie will be good? If Lord and Miller are making it after they got fired from Han Solo, and if they're going back to that film that they worked on from Han Solo, then yes. If Lord and Miller, the guys who did 21 Jump Street, Lego Movie, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, if they're doing the Flash movie, if they go back to it with Ezra Miller, I think that'll be a great movie. I think they're perfect for that. They're much better suited for that than they are Star Wars. And, yeah, I mean, it'll be a funny, entertaining, well-paced movie. So, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Marvel saved the movie. Yeah, it was the stench of the previous 2 movies that prevented it from being a much bigger billion-dollar movie. That's exactly it. Sony hurt the name brand of Spider-Man, the franchise. They needed Marvel to keep the damn franchise alive because they killed the brand so bad, and the box office reflects that. You know, Spider-Man would have made a lot more money had they not fucked the brand up. That movie should have made $1 billion. It has Iron Man and Spider-Man in it. And the original Raimi flicks all made over $1 billion with inflation. I'm just saying that Sony really killed the brand with those last 2 movies. And this film, it's a hit, but it's only a hit because it's Marvel making the film and it had all this goodwill and it got good reviews. I can't give a lot of the credit to Sony. This isn't showing me that Sony's making a turnaround. It just shows me that Marvel made another hit movie because that's what Kevin Feige does. Or Feige, or whatever the fuck his name is. Drive 2011 is one of my favorite films the last few years. I think it's like... a lot of people compare it to Taxi Driver, but I think that's a really shitty comparison. I would compare it to The Professional by Luc Besson. I actually think... Or Michael Mann movies from the 80s like Thief, but I love it. I really love Drive. I think it's very emotional, well done, great acting, great score, cinematography. For a digital film, it's just jaw-dropping. It's kind of one of those films that made me fall for Gosling even more. I love Refn. It's one of Refn's best films. Because Refn usually gets caught up in his own bullshit. He forgets to just stop and make a movie. He keeps trying to be David Lynch or something. But Drive actually has a story and action tropes that keep him grounded enough to just make a film and then let his qualities as a director really flourish in Drive. And I like the meta aspects of Drive too. I remember liking Drive a lot. I've seen it like 5 times. I own the Blu-ray, but I hate to be your typical hipster film guy who likes Drive, you know, but I even like the slow, quiet staring stuff. I think it's great. I think the film's just so well directed. And I think it's so... It's a film that is almost like The Terminator, in a sense, with the way it's done and the way it's entertaining. I don't know which studio bought Bond. Some studio, because because they were just a distributor. Eon makes the Bond films, and then someone else distributes it. But nobody bought Bond. I think Disney was up there. And I wouldn't be surprised if Disney put the money up to get Bond. I mean, would that really shock anyone if Disney got James Bond? Like, legitimately, would that make any of us surprised if you read, like, any day that Disney is going to distribute the Bond franchise? They have the capital to help back it up. Oh, yeah, I've seen The Driver. Yeah, of course. They have the capital to back it up. They can market it better than Sony marketed the films. I mean, Disney seems the way to go. I don't want Bond to be with Disney, but that just seems like the logical decision, honestly, if you want the franchise to stay alive. Or Universal, I think, could benefit from Bond. They have the Fast and Furious franchise. They seem to know how to make these big blockbusters. And the Fast and Furious films kind of have this James Bond thing about them, so maybe him. I mean, maybe Universal. Because, yeah, they're getting Craig ready to do the next one. So that's actually a pretty good question. I don't know. That's going to be big news whenever that happens, because needless to say, I don't think they've really, Oh, no, I need to watch this video. Jim Carrey and Michelle Gondry talk about Eternal Sunshine. Hell yeah. It's late over here, so I'm hitting the hay. Thanks for another fun stream. May the Force wait. Oh, yeah. Yes, thank you, man. You have a good night. Thank you for watching, Joseph. I appreciate it. And thank you for being a subscriber to the Renaissance Man. The Renaissance Man Pat. Well, alright, you guys don't have any questions left? Alright, well then I guess I'll get to wrapping this up. We'll get to wrapping this up. I had a fun time, man. It was mostly a movie conversation. Your best and worst films of the year. Last year, Manchester by the Sea was my favorite film of the year. The worst film I saw last year, Jesus. I'm honestly trying to remember, because I avoid going to see a lot of bad movies. If Home came out last year, that Sheldon Cooper alien film, Secret Life of Pets was pretty shitty. Okay, so yeah, Secret Life of Pets was shitty. But yeah, I was shocked there's so many movie questions. I thought you guys would ask some political questions, or you guys would ask more about what the patriarchy of the YouTube and all that stuff. I'm sorry I couldn't answer better on what happened, the event that had the Antifa thing or whatever. I just didn't know a lot about it. I'm going to have to go do some research on it, maybe make a video on it, but I can't give you anything off the top of my head. This year, from what I've seen this year, Jesus. I don't know what the best movie I've seen so far this year is. I still need to see Dunkirk, so that one will probably be up there. The worst movie I've seen this year is obviously the Emoji Movie. That was this year. I guess currently my favorite movie that I've seen is either like Baby Driver, because, hey, actually, hold on. I think I might have had this written down. Nope. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, Secret Life of Pets kind of pissed me off last year. No, this year, I guess Baby Driver is the best film that I've seen so far in theaters off the top of my head, unless I'm missing something. I mean, Alien Covenant was pretty shitty. That was the most disappointing film I've seen so far this year. It wasn't the worst film I've seen this year, but it was the most disappointing. I went to the theater and got pissed off. You look, Lego Batman was pretty great. That movie was kind of amazing, actually. Trying to think is anything where I guess that'd be my answer. Lego Batman movie. If I was gonna give you what was the best movie I've seen this year so far, it was unless I forgot something. I kind of really loved the Lego Batman. Yeah, I plan on doing a Dunkirk review. I just haven't got to catch it. But yeah, Lego Batman was my so far this year. Kind of blew me away. I thought it was great, and I'm a big Batman fan. I love the Batman Arkham games, except for the third one having all the tank combat that was simplistic and overdrawn out and shitty as fuck. A really crappy story compared to the previous two games, and an anticlimactic ending that you had to unlock with all the Riddler trophies. But outside of that, yes, I like the Arkham games. Sorry guys, I'm just pissed about Arkham Knight. That game pissed me the fuck off. It's a tank simulator for like hours. It's like the last game in this epic Batman trilogy, and you have me drive around in the fucking Bat Tank over and over again. No, I can't do a video with Ralph the Movie Maker because he has like 300,000 subs and he probably wouldn't do a video with me. I would love to do a video with Ralph the Movie Maker. I'm a big fan of Ralph, and I think we would do a very good video together. I think that I think he's one of the better critics on YouTube, one of the more honest ones. But I like you ask me that question. Can you do a video with Ralph the movie? Like I have that option. Yeah, of course. I'll call Ralph right now. He's younger than me. I mean, he'll be looking up to me. He's already made movies at like 21. You know, I'm 27. You know, we can chit chat. I do wonder if he even knows like about Bergman and all that stuff. Yeah, no, if I had, yeah, I always wonder if he knows about art films. I mean, not that he needs to, but I always wonder how much he actually knows about. He's pretty good at cinematography. Actually, his cinematography is pretty impressive when you watch some of his short films. But yeah, it's like, hey, you want to do a video with Red Letter Media? I'd love to do a video with Red Letter Media. If they ever ask me, I'll be sure to let you know. I'll be the first guy to sign up. What are your thoughts on Trump? Oh, Daddy Trump. Trump was the vaccination that America needed. We were sick. We were sick and stupid, and we got too caught up in ourselves, and we got too big. We got too reliant on the government, and we got too reliant on politics. And Trump had to come in and, you know, help us to where hopefully the next few generations, it's okay. Hopefully the next political cycle post-Trump has changed things now where it won't go so radical anymore, left or right. I don't know. It's tough to go. I mean, that's a loaded question. You know, there's a lot of things I don't like about Donald Trump. I don't like his Twitter. I don't like that he lies a lot and flip-flops on things he says. I don't like that he's inconsistent with things. I don't like that he's in the Republican Party and he's not really a conservative, although that doesn't bother me that he's kind of a centrist. I don't know. I like that he says things that politicians weren't willing to say. I like that he talks about illegal immigration, even if he doesn't know anything about it. I like that he talks about terrorism and Islam. I like that he has a sense of humor and he's funny. I like that he's real about wealth and people and the upper class, and I think he's saying things that we've all kind of known for a long time in society. I read a lot of comic books. In fact, if you look here, I'm currently reading The Sandman again while we're doing this live stream. I have The Sandman up here online. So, yes, I'm always reading comic books. I'd say Trump is a bad... If it was a different circumstances, different situations, he's like a good, bad thing in a really bad situation. Like, I almost think Trump's a necessity. I think that he's almost a necessity to show us that it is just kind of a joke and a popularity contest, and we take it so seriously, and then America's not run by one man. I think people had to get over the illusion of one person running the whole country. Don't be mean to me anymore. You told me to jump off the cliff. Hey, sorry, man. I told you to jump off a cliff? I do not remember that. Man, Watchmen, Jesus. That's another video altogether. You know, I'll tell you what. I'm not going to answer that question. Down the road, I'm going to make a video on Watchmen about the comic and movie, so you can wait for that answer. I'm going to go in depth. I've already answered this before a little bit and ranted about Watchmen, but I'm going to make a movie about that. I need to wrap this up here. We're getting close to midnight over here, and I don't think I can fit many more questions in. But, do you hear about the gossip that Trump ignored a kid in a wheelchair? Oh, yeah, I heard that, yeah. If they could spend anything Trump does to make him look like a fucking evil bastard, they'll just do it. It's fucking ridiculous. They don't give a shit about reporting anything. It's just they have to meet a quota. They have to get a Trump story in every day. That's all it is. It's ridiculous. Anyway, thanks you guys for watching. I'll play some music out. Appreciate all of you who can contribute to this channel, be it through Super Chat, or if you guys ever watch the ads, even though I don't get them much anymore, or just sharing the videos and watching them and liking them and leaving comments. That means the world to me. Like I said, I do this as a hobby, and it's one of the most fun things in the world, and I hope I don't have to stop, and you guys are also great. It was a long journey to get to 4,000. We took a long time to get here. I thought we'd get here a little quicker. I thought I'd get to 5,000 a little quicker. Like, you know, I think about Aiden Paladin, and then she's like, in like 6 months, she has like 31,000 subs. I'm like, damn it, I'm doing something wrong. Hard Bastard, even Sinatra says in them, or the white YouTuber, and I'm like, you know, I'm as good as these guys. I mean, I'm not saying I'm worse or better than any of them. I'm just like, you know, I'm good as some of these guys, but I don't know. Maybe I'll end up having the kind of viewers like Ralph the Movie Maker or Red Letter Media down the road. Who knows what'll happen? But you know, I'm not stopping the patriarchy because I'm gonna have to go down fighting. Google's not just gonna get me to stop that easy. I'm not gonna do that. I'm the weasel, bro. I gotta show them the way. It's the wreckage, you know? But, been a little too into Pauly Shore lately. Been getting back into the weasel. Oh, buddy. But thank you guys. Thank you guys. Yeah, hey, thank you for asking the questions. Tomorrow, weekend box office stream, probably 4 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe a little bit after that. If you don't catch it on its initial viewing, please make sure to watch it after the fact, because I love the weekend box office stream, and it's one of the only things YouTube lets me keep monetized, so it helps give me that little extra bit of money at the end of the day, which means a lot to my dear Irish heart. So please watch that tomorrow, catch it. There'll be some more movie reviews coming out. I got some patriarchy videos coming out on some fat studies and stuff like that, and I don't know, the channel's got tons of content. I have like 3 or 4 videos thought out for this week. I'm gonna spend some time on them, but you guys kick ass. You guys kick serious ass. So I'm gonna play out some Sharkfoot music for you. Make sure to go subscribe to him if you ever want to hear more music, and his music is amazing. And I don't know, it's just what it is. See you bitches later. All hail the patriarchy. All hail the patriarchy. And get the word out, man. Get the word out on Renaissance Men. Oh, and yes, Dark Tower will be another canceled movie franchise. Yes, to answer your question.